My name's Tim. What's yours?
Johnny Craps. Originally, I'm from San Jose, California, which is the Bay Area, obviously.
Okay, and what was the music scene out that way?
Well, as I'm a little older, I was around there in the 90s, which was a big time for pop punk, and like Rancid was just coming out, and Green Day, and AFI, and Tiger Army. A lot of bands were coming out of the Bay Area. And so, like, that's kind of how I got on the scene. And the first time I actually got into punk music, my parents got me, like, a wireless radio headset. And I put it on, and I remember listening to one of the rock stations, and Green Day came on, When I Come Around. And I was like, that is awesome, and I'd never heard anything like that before, so I was like, this is my music. And I'd say, one, it's not trendy, not cool. Like, in California, like, everyone would wear Converse and, like, at the punk shows, and everyone would look the same, and it'd be, like, the cool kids, the skater kids were, like, the popular kids were some of the punks. But, like, in the Midwest, it's more of actual, being outside of the mainstream. And, like, it's more vital, especially in socially, like, in communities where there isn't a lot of creativity necessarily in music so much. I mean, at high school, because there are kids that feel left out, and they're looking for a music or a group or a band to make them feel connected to other people because they realize that what they like, their values, the way they live conflicts with the people around them. Yeah. In Southern Illinois, actually, there's the Heron Teen Town there are several basement places in Carbondale that host punk shows fairly often. And when I was in high school at Harrisburg, Illinois, we actually organized a benefit for the soup kitchen in El Dorado that was going to close down. We raised $800 for it, and I organized like 6 or 7 bands and got them to come play at a church. And it's pretty much you have to do it yourself, and that's the biggest difference. Like a lot of popular bands and hip-hop groups, they can have promoters, they can have people like, want them to come to clubs and bars, but with punk, a lot of times you have to make your own show. I think it could thrive. It might not necessarily look like a stereotypical punk place, but it would take on whatever is the alternative music form of, that era. There'll always be a music form that kids that feel left out or looking for a place to go will get involved in. What's cool, too, is like in Southern Illinois, a lot of the popular kids would become friends with the kids because of that venue. They would find it was the only place to go around there. So you'd have 2 different groups hanging out, and a lot of times later on, those differences wouldn't be as important, especially as kids get older. I think it's very important for Charleston. I think it could happen. The amount of success would be due to the amount of effort that the city would be willing to put into it, and the ability for hardworking people to be involved. The biggest thing is you need adults who know how to organize and who know how to run a program and know how to supervise and make sure it's a safe environment. But I think that you could find many college kids, especially in the music program, that would love to see a community develop around that. It's kind of hard to say, but I think that because there's nothing really to do for especially youth in Charleston, that they would definitely come to that. You could have people that don't even get involved. They aren't musicians themselves, but they would go to those shows because their friends would be involved, or because there might be some girls there, some guys there they want to go see and stuff like that. I think they would definitely get involved with something like that.